So I thought that I would do my eating disorder story from 2018 to 2019. I've had my eating disorder since 2014, but that would be a very, very long story. If you guys want to hear the full story, comment down below and I'll make a video, but it would probably have to be like 2 or 3 parts. But I'm just gonna do in the last year because it's just what I'm most familiar with, and like I can't really recall many details from like 2014, 2015, 2016 because it was just such a bad time. We're gonna do in the past year, well, April 2018 to present. So in April 2018, I relapsed. I don't really know why. I was really depressed. I was really struggling with my other mental illnesses, but there wasn't an event that triggered it. Like, it just came out of nowhere. And that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't know the cause, and that's the most frustrating thing because if you know the cause, you know where the root is and you know how to fix it. But if you don't know the cause, then how do you know how to fix it? And then I didn't really lose that much weight April to October. But then in the middle of October, let me backtrack. So, April through October, I was restricting all day and then I would binge at night. And I wasn't really purging in those few months because I struggled with purging a lot like a year prior to that, and I knew how obsessive I was with it. So I knew if I started again at least once, it would just keep continuing, and I didn't want that to happen. Even though I hated binging, I was like, I don't want to get myself into that again. So I would just restrict all day and binge at night, and I lost a little bit of weight, but nothing significant. So now to the middle of October. In the middle of October, I started school, college, for pastry arts, which is my passion. I've loved baking ever since I was a kid. My dad taught me how to cook and some baking. It was mostly my mom that taught me how to bake, but my dad taught me how to hold a spoon at like 3 years old. Like, I loved cooking and baking, and as I grew older, I learned that I was better at baking than cooking, so I started focusing on just that, and it became my absolute passion. Like, I love my career path. Sadly, I'm not doing it right now, but it's my absolute passion. I love it. But at the same time, it was a huge trigger to my eating disorder because I was being forced. If you have an eating disorder, I know not everyone who watches this is going to have an eating disorder, but if you don't have an eating disorder, basically, when you have one, all your thoughts are about food. Every single thought is associated to food. I can't speak for everyone, but at least for me personally, every thought was surrounded by food. Every thought was surrounded by my eating disorder. Whenever I was daydreaming, just like staring off in space, it was always about my eating disorder. Whenever I was dreaming at night, it was always about my eating disorder. Every single moment of my life, not of my life, of the time that I struggled severely with my eating disorder, all my time, thinking, energy goes into it. And what was I talking about? So I was forced to be constantly thinking about food, which in turn just made my eating disorder 10 times stronger because I was already thinking about food all the time, but now I was forced to think about it all the time. So it was just like endless, and that's when I started purging again. And so I would go to school. I would get coffee, a Dunkin' Donuts coffee before school. I would go to school, which was 12:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. I wouldn't eat the entire day. And then I would get home around 7 and I would just binge and purge the rest of the night. And so I lost a lot of weight, and it was a very bad time. So that continued from the middle of October until the end of January. At the end of January, basically, I don't know if I would consider it a suicide attempt because it was halfway a suicide attempt and it was halfway just me being desperate. I took like 50 or 60 diet pills, and I guess I wouldn't consider that a suicide attempt, but it was just like an impulse and it was an act of desperation. And so I took those and I was sent to the hospital because it was like these natural diet pills and they had a lot of caffeine in them. So I was like shaking out of control. So I was sent to the hospital. I talked to the caseworker there and she got me into Brandywine, which is, I was there in 2014 and then I was there earlier this year, the time that I'm talking about. So I was there for only 2.5 weeks because I basically just lied my way out. I did not want to be there. I did not want recovery. I did not want any of it. And so I just kept lying. I was like, no, I'm fine. I ate all hundreds. I did everything that I needed to do to get out. And then as soon as I got out, I just started losing weight again. And I got to an even lower weight than when I went in the first time. Well, yeah. And so that was probably the lowest point of my life. I was so depressed. I can barely look at pictures of me from them because I just looked so lifeless. I looked literally dead. I posted a transformation, like a face transformation on my eating disorder recovery Instagram, and it's insane how different just my face looks. Not only like the hollowness and like my cheekbones, but just my eyes and my mouth. My mouth was just like covered with red skin because of purging. Like the stomach acid just burned the crap out of my lips. And that, it was really bad. And so then I was sent to Renfrew, Philadelphia. And I still did not want recovery. Like, I was just so done. I felt like I had no hope. I felt like there was no point. And so I was there for about 2.5 weeks. It's a residential. So usually at the Philadelphia one, you're usually only there for 4 to 6 weeks. But the reason I was only there for 2.5 weeks is because they wanted me to get tubed because I wasn't eating anything. Basically in Renfrew, there's different levels that you could be on. There's level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level 5 is the highest level you could be on. Level 1 is the lowest level. I was on level 2, which is modified bed rest, because I was just so weak and non-compliant, and I just did not want anything to do with anything. That happened. And then they wanted to tube me, but they do tube at Renfrew sometimes, but they prefer to send people inpatient to get tubed. And stay there for a while and then come back to Renfrew. So they sent me to Brandywine again. I was in Brandywine for 8 weeks. The average stay is 2 to 3 weeks. I did get tubed. I was tubed for about 2.5 weeks. And because I could do it, but in my mind I couldn't do it. And so I just gave up. I completely surrendered. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have no hope. Like, there's no point, just tube me. So I was tubed and I was fucking miserable. It was awful. You know, I hated whenever, I mean, I obviously wanted to see my family, but I hated whenever they came and I was on the tube because they had to see me with this tube up my nose carrying around this pole. And I don't know how they didn't start crying whenever they saw me, because it was like a horror movie, like seeing your daughter walk around with a pole connected to their nose that's pumping Ensure into them. So I was on that for about 2.5 weeks, and then I sat at a table with my girl Sarah. She watches these videos, so hey. And one day, you know, we just decided, she was also on a tube, and we decided that we were just gonna kick ass, you know. I got put on the Ritalin that I talked about in, I think, my second full day of eating, and that like made my motivation so much stronger. I had no motivation to get better before, but that made it really strong. I had a lot more motivation. And Sarah and I made a pact and decided that we were gonna eat off the frickin' tubes. Sarah didn't get off hers for about a week after I got off. No, she got off hers a few days before I got off mine. So basically, you had to eat 100% every meal for 3 days consistently. If you missed the meal, you had to restart. And so we kicked ass. We did 100%, and I actually had to do like 5 or 6 days of 100% to get off the tube. And let me just say, I know there's some people who like romanticize having tubes. You do not want a tube. I cannot explain to you. It's like this pain that I can't even explain. Not like mental, I mean, it's mentally painful, but physically, it makes your stomach feel like it's going to explode, especially when you're eating on top of it. Because I was getting, I'm going to talk about calories for a second, but not, you know, I was getting about 1,800 calories of Ensure a day on top of me doing 100% at every meal. And the meal plan that I had at Brandywine was crazy. Like, it was insane. I don't fully follow that meal plan anymore because it put me in so much pain that it just, I couldn't put myself through that. So basically, I got off the tube after about 5 or 6 days because he was kind of hesitant about taking me off of it. And then I think Kara, my friend Kara, who she's going to be in a video soon. My name on YouTube is Bay and Kara because originally we were going to share this channel, but I mean, we still can. But she's coming in the middle of July to stay with me for like a day or two. And we're going to go to a concert, so we're definitely going to film a video together. But she came in, we met Impatient. She came in and we just like clicked from the start. Like I think the first night she was there, I sat down to her because she was sitting in the hallway alone. And so I sat down with her, was just talking to her. And so we like clicked right from the start. And I met like amazing people. Like, I had the best of friends in there. After about, it was like 3 weeks after I got the tube out, I left because I was going to a partial program after, and they wanted me at a certain weight to get into the partial program. The weight was a weight I've literally never been to in my entire life, and so they were able to kind of negotiate it down a few pounds. And so I finally got out at about 8 weeks. And then I went to partial for about 4 weeks. I signed myself out of partial because it was just making me worse mentally. Like, it wasn't a good fit for me. I mean, it worked for some people, but it just wasn't a good fit for me. And now I'm kind of here. So I've been like in active recovery for about 2 months. I got out of Brandywine in the middle of May, I think. So about 2 months, yeah. That's about it. I am in no way, shape, or form like trying my absolute. I am trying my absolute best, actually. I am. I was about to talk myself down for a second, but we're not going to do that. But that's my story for the last like year and a half. If you guys want to hear the full story, make sure to comment down below. And I'll see you in my next video. It'll probably just be another full day of eating until I do something interesting. Bye, guys.